best advice I ever saw was just online. Robert Zemeckis said, do less, say less. And I think that that's the answer.
These cargo capris that like the crotch, it was like 2 inches.
Yeah.
And it was so low rise that we had to put a baby doll shirt over the top because if I bend over,
First of all, I just have to commend you for how well the time travel was all handled. It's easily the toughest element of these kinds of movies, and you nailed it. What do you think the key was to pulling it off so seamlessly?
First of all, that is the best compliment we could receive because it is challenging, and we did spend countless hours staring at a whiteboard, with diagrams and arrows and like my brain hurting and bleeding. So, I honestly think best advice I ever saw was just online. Robert Zemeckis said, "Do less, say less." And I think that that's the answer is you sort of put enough, pieces in play that the people who are really smart about time travel will feel satisfied and can figure it out on their own. And then everyone else just goes along for the ride. I think there were versions of the script and even versions that we shot where we tried to do a little more explaining, a little more hand holding, and they always came back to haunt us. So it's really nice where it ended up. I agree, where we kind of just let that be a element of the story that is hopefully like suspend your disbelief and enjoy it.
Like the 80s before it, the 90s have been a popular decade to recreate, and I love that you took aim at the 2000s. What made you want to take on that decade?
It was already in Michael Kennedy's great script when I first read it, that it was 2003, and I felt the same way you did. I was like, I really had some formative years in the early 2000s, and I was like, this is feels really fresh. And there are some, once you start really thinking about it, there was like some very specific weird things that were going on in the early 2000s in fashion and in music, and so it was so fun to sort of go like, you know what, this is uniquely 2003. Like we got to have this in the movie.
I was freaking out at the high school scene where it has just all the 2000s fashion trends because it's like, oh, that was my high school life. That's so cool to see. I hope that more films start doing that with the 2000s. What was your favorite 2000s trend to recreate?
Honestly, the most fun for me was us trying to figure out how to find one of those first edition iPods. They're actually like very expensive now because
Yes.
people are they're like outfitting them with new technology so that they can carry them around and like, have endless songs on them now. So they're like priced super high on eBay. We were so lucky to get that one that's in the movie. But that just sort of made me giggle that like, oh my gosh, people are like buying these to use them now.
Well, and we won't get into details, but you have a great twist in the film, and it makes for a really satisfying killer reveal. And I think part of what makes it work so well is it's not some big done, done, done moment. It's simply revealed and just makes sense. So does it take a bunch of edits to get to that point, or did it play out as how you'd always envisioned it?
You know what? I think it did turn out the way I always hoped. I'll say that. And I think the trick was finding without saying too much, making sure that it felt earned and believable, but also not in your face. So I'm so happy that it felt like it worked for you because I really did want people to go like, oh, of course, but also like never have seen it coming. And so it did take, we sort of felt like we were there on the page, and then it definitely took in the on set directing a variety of performances in certain scenes to like lay the groundwork so that in the edit bay we could really pull back if we'd gone too far in certain areas, and make sure that it landed.
There was a similar movie that came out on Prime last year called Totally Killer, and I have to ask if like that movie releases, if it's suddenly like a concern for you guys in production of like, oh wait, this other slasher has a time travel element, or is it just they're doing their own thing?
We shot our movie before that movie,
Oh,
and
really?
that is one of the interesting things about Hollywood, I and filmmaking. So, I think our movie's different and special. I always am sort of fascinated by the things that pop up in the zeitgeist. Quite frankly, I'm sort of surprised this wasn't done long before because it's so brilliant, the mashup of time travel and slasher movies. So, happy to exist in the space with other movies as well. But I think ours is very different.
You have great chemistry together in the film. Madison, what do you think the key was to have that intangible, long-lost sister bond?
I mean, I think it really helps to have just had natural chemistry. Like, I mean, there wasn't any point where I felt like we had to build it, especially considering my character had never met her. So I'm like, I am meeting you fresh, and we are just building chemistry that fast. And I feel like that just happened naturally, which is
Well, and I know that you were both too young to have lived through it, but you obviously got to witness a lot of 2000s high school fashion. Antonia, what do you think was the most ridiculous mid-2000s trend that you saw on set?
Honestly, them Ugg boots. You know, Ugg boots with the mini skirt and the polo shirt.
you know what they did to you, they did the opposite for me. 'Cause I feel like I saw that, I was like, wait, Loki. it kind of hit.
I don't know. I had these. I did well. I guess there was some. You know what? I liked the green.
It's the double polo, maybe.
It's the double polo.
The double
I didn't
polo is
love that.
great.
I did wear though these cargo capris. These cargo capris that like the crotch. It was like 2 inches,
Yeah.
and it was so low rise that we had to put a baby doll shirt over the top because if I bend over,
Yeah,
like,
it's the
movie's
practicality between 2024.
and 2003,
It's 9 days.
night and day.
Is there any prop or clothing that either of you snuck off set?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, the mini skirts were tailored to me, so I was like, I mean,
Yeah, it's
who's
good.
wearing it after that?
You
As
gotta
I
take
said,
advantage of it.
yay, I had to.
Yeah.
And then they like were in style, like the
Now, yeah,
following. Yeah,
the
they're not too
2000s
far
are
off from like the Y2K resurfacing.
And Time Cut feels like a mix of Back to the Future and Scream. Did the director give you any kind of film homework to prep for the movie?
I think we benefit from it being
Yeah.
different enough.
Well, I've seen those movies already,
Sure,
so
sure.
that helped. But no, I think, but yeah, like the script is so different anyway. I mean, it's a time travel slasher sisterhood movie
Yeah.
that like is set in 2003. So I think it was just there were elements that are very familiar in each of those genres, but it was a new enough idea that it was just fun to jump in and explore.
Well, and I love the mystery in this film, and I think the twist is pulled off beautifully. What do you think that the key is to an intriguing whodunit, Madison?
I don't know. The key, I don't know, because it caught me off guard too, and I don't know what exactly it was. I think having viable other suspects helps. Like it could have been Ethan. It could. There's points where it could be, one of your friends. It could be like.
Oh, yeah.
It could be. I mean, it could
Yeah,
be.
it could've
You
been
never.
Emmy,
You
yeah.
never know. So I think having good other options.
So finally, it's
Oh
the
my-
Halloween season, and outside of the ones that you've been in, and obviously outside of Time Cut, what are your favorite horror movies to put on at this time of the year?
Oh my god, don't get me started.
Twitches.
Twitch.
I'm so
The
serious.
original sister.
Yo, because yes, actually.
Twitches.
No, because that movie used to haunt me.
That's
Like
so
I just
funny.
felt that like dark smoke.
Girl.
Oh, it doesn't take much to get me scared at all.
I was gonna say Jeepers Creepers.
You can say boo, and I'm like,
I was gonna say Insidious.
I
That's
can't rewatch Insidious. Like nightmares
Insidious
for
is so
life.
good.
I think about it more
Children of
often.
the Corn.
You're next.